Like and subscribe right now, or you're going to have terrible luck for the next week. Natural disasters wreak unimaginable havoc on the lives of people who experience them. But those disasters aren't just disasters for human beings alone. They are disasters for other kinds of life too. Tsunamis, hurricanes, and other such natural disasters can change the life of a marine animal. In fact, in many cases, these animals end up experiencing forced migration when they wash ashore because of extreme weather. Today, we'll be looking at the strangest and most incredible things discovered after a natural disaster, like a tsunami. Number 10. Fang-toothed marine mystery. This animal certainly doesn't look like a fish or anything you've seen before. In fact, it would look perfectly in place in a science fiction movie about slimy monsters, instead of on a beach. Regardless of this, it was found on a beach after a particularly devastating hurricane. Science communicator Preeti Desai was the one who discovered the fish during a recent outing, and she said it looked like a lamprey from afar. However, upon seeing its mouth, she knew that it couldn't possibly be a lamprey. It had to be something else, something different, something strange. And indeed it was. The animal was an eel in the family Opistheidae, a group also known as snake eels. Most scientists came to the conclusion that the animal was an Alphatophis chalotus, the fang-toothed snake eel or tusky eel. When one considers how horrifying this animal looks, it's no surprise to learn that the name for it roughly translates to terrible serpent. Number 9. The floating dock. In 2011, a tsunami wrecked Japan. Millions of dollars in property was lost, and several people died. However, the impact of the tsunami was not to be felt in the United States until several months later. On June 5th, a floating dock, a mass of concrete that was longer than we could ever imagine, washed ashore on the coast of Oregon. The dock brought with it so many species of marine life from Japan that it was impossible to catalog them all. Some of these animals included barnacles, clams, mussels, and so many other tiny creatures that we may not be able to recognize. The dock weighed 188 tons, was 7 feet tall, and stretched 19 feet wide by 66 feet long. It also brought with it some 118 species of foreign marine life that scientists quickly killed. It was confirmed to be one of the 4 cut loose from the Japanese city in Misawa during the March 2011 tsunami that devastated the area. Before the dock arrived, most scientists expected that some things would wash ashore from the Pacific, but no one expected an actual dock this size. Number 8. Rowing boat. This rowing boat, or skiff, was found on the 7th of April 2013 on the shores of Crescent City, California. The boat was called Kamome and was owned by a high school in Rikuzen, Takata. Sadly, the high school has been completely destroyed by the tsunami that hit the town it was in about 2 years earlier. Pupils of Del Norte High School helped to remove the barnacles on it and worked with Japanese officials to send the rowing boat back to Japan. By this time, the school in Rikuzen, Takata had been rebuilt, and the 2 schools started to arrange visits and later became sister schools. This goes to show that even the most unlikely items can bring 2 groups of people together in the unlikeliest of ways. Number 7. The motorcycle. Can you imagine a motorcycle suddenly washing ashore? Well, you should be able to. A motorcycle is just like any other thing that could wash ashore. That's why you shouldn't be surprised to learn that a Harley-Davidson motorcycle once washed ashore Graham Island in British Columbia in Canada. The Motor City had washed up in the container that its owner had used to store it. So technically, it was a container that washed ashore. It just happened to have a Harley-Davidson right in it. The container and its motorcycle were discovered by Peter Mark in April 2012. Peter discovered that the motorcycle had a Japanese plate number, so he decided to trace it. It was traced to Iko Yokoyama, a Japanese man. However, Iko decided not to pay the shipping fees to get the bike back to Japan. Instead, he asked Peter to exhibit the bike at the Harley-Davidson Museum in Milwaukee, USA. It would be a memorial to the lives that were lost during the disaster. Number 6. Giant blue eyeball. How big do you think a regular eyeball should be? About an inch wide? About the size of a golf ball? About the size of 2 golf balls? Well, if you think the eyes should be small organs no bigger than golf balls, you're in for a shock. This large blue eyeball was found on a Florida beach in 2012. Yes, it's real, and it washed ashore Pompano Beach in Florida. At first, everyone was confused. It was surely the eye of some large animal, but what animal was it? And how large exactly was that animal to have such a large eye? The eye was handed over to the Florida and Wildlife Conservation Commission for further investigations. Most scientists believe that it would have been the eye of some large fish, while some believe that it's most definitely the eye of a squid. But which animal is exactly big enough to have an eye so large? Well, apparently it belonged to a swordfish. Who knew swordfishes had striking eyes? Number 5. Shomer. The 2011 tsunami of Japan is, in recent years, one of the most impactful tsunamis. In fact, it's very difficult to think of a tsunami in the last 15 years that has wreaked more havoc than it. After the tsunami swept over the Tohoku region of Japan, it ripped this small blue and white fishing boat from its moorings and cast it out to sea. Amazingly, the boat didn't capsize and simply drifted eastward through the Pacific Ocean. After 2 years of aimlessly drifting through the ocean, the boat finally washed ashore on Long Beach, Washington. The hull of the boat was encrusted with barnacles and seaweed. One of its components was filled with water, and the boat looked terrible in general. However, one thing shocked the people who found the boat. Inside the compartments filled with water were 5 striped blackfish. The fish were still young and were only about 5 inches long. The fishes had probably been swept into the boat as larvae and had spent their entire lives growing in the compartment of the fishing boat. Number 4. The ghost ship. The vast majority of the strangest things discovered after a tsunami are usually small things. They rarely weigh up to a ton and are usually quite small. However, in some cases, just like this one, the debris recovered is so large that one can only stand in awe of it. This crewless ghost ship was discovered off the coast of the Canadian province of British Columbia on the 23rd of March 2012. While it was slowly drifting about the Pacific, it was a 50-meter-long ship that looked like it had gone through hell twice over. It was rusted, in bad shape, and there was no question that it had become heavily entangled in the tsunami that wrecked Japan just about 9 months earlier. It looked like a squid fishing ship, and after further investigations, the assertion was proven right. Sadly, the ship posed a danger to other ships, and it was near impossible to salvage. The solution to the problem that the ship posed, sadly, was to scuttle it. The sink was sunk by naval cannon fire just about 314 kilometers from Sitka, Alaska. Number 3. The story of the Blob of Yabu-Chichima. This story may be quite confusing, so hold on and listen carefully. After the devastation of the 2011 tsunami, blogs all over the world, including The Mirror, The Daily Star, and The Daily Mail, published an interesting article. Apparently, a blob-like creature washed up on the beaches of Japan after the tsunami. In fact, they attached a sketchy video to the article to authenticate it. The footage showed a blob-like animal on the beach and was said to have been shot by a survivor of the disaster. In fact, several YouTube channels have gone with this video as a way to claim that supernatural or extraterrestrial animals exist beneath the ocean. However, it's not true. The blob in question is real, of course, but it was not discovered after the tsunami. It was actually found in 2010, a whole year before the tsunami struck. The blob was actually found in a small fishing village called Yabu-Chichima. A cultural museum curator, for some reason, was called to the scene. Now it's time for today's best pick. Our picture today was sent in by a subscriber. If you come across a picture online and would like to know its origins, you can send it straight to us. Who knows? Your picture might get featured in one of our videos. Number 2. The ship lost at sea for 6 years. 2012, 2013, and to some extent 2014 were the years for strange things to wash ashore after the 2011 tsunami. But this ship pushes the boundaries for even that, as it was lost at sea for more than 6 years. When found, the boat was filled with barnacles. This is to be expected. It'd been lost at sea for 6 years after all. Photos of the ship showed a haunted and ghost environment, devoid of any life, except the barnacles, of course. Scientists guess that the ship might have been struck by a wind that took it all the way to Hawaii and through the Great Pacific Garbage Patch before bringing it round to the coast of the US. Before we move on, I've got a little challenge for you that'll take 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and you'll get 25 years of amazing luck. Try it. It really works. Number 1. two-headed porpoise. Some Netherlands fishermen got the shock of their lives when they caught a porpoise that had 2 heads. It had 1 body and sprouted 2 heads. Interestingly, it appeared that the animal had managed to remain alive for a while. So it was an adult porpoise that had 2 heads. No one had ever seen something like it before. Scientists have now confirmed that what those fishermen caught was actually the first case of Siamese twins seen in porpoises, and is only the 10th ever seen among cetaceans, a group of animals that includes whales and dolphins. Spooky, right? That's all for today, guys. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. See you on the next video.